Welcome to Everyday Counseling, a podcast about understanding emotional patterns as they show up in everyday life. In this episode, we're looking more closely at why emotional reactions so often spill out in relationships and why the people closest to us are usually the ones who see our strongest responses. Many reactions don't appear in isolation, they emerge between people. A sharp tone with a sibling, withdrawal from a parent, frustration that surfaces at work, irritability that shows up with friends. The reaction often feels bigger than the moment, and it can be confusing to understand why it happens when it does. One reason is familiarity. Relationships that are ongoing carry history. Roles have been established. Expectations are often unspoken. When pressure builds, the nervous system tends to release in places that feel known, even if those places aren't the safest or most appropriate in the moment. You might notice this when you hold things together all day at work, only to feel unusually reactive at home, or when you stay composed with strangers but feel suddenly sensitive with people you know very well. The reaction isn't about respect or care, it's about where the system feels permitted to let go. Another factor is emotional load. Relationships often carry responsibility, obligation, and long standing patterns. A parent child relationship, for example, doesn't just exist in the present, it carries years of expectations, habits, and emotional memory. When something small happens, the reaction may include more than the present interaction. The same is true with siblings. Roles established early can remain active long after circumstances change. A comment that feels trivial to one person can activate something familiar to another. The reaction can feel immediate and disproportionate even when no one intended harm. Friendships can work in a similar way. Some friendships allow for vulnerability, others carry comparison or unspoken tension. Emotional reactions often reflect how much space there is to be imperfect within that relationship. Work relationships add another layer. Power dynamics, expectations, and performance pressures can limit expression. Emotions that can't be shown at work don't disappear, they often reappear elsewhere. Irritability at home, withdrawal socially, reduced patience in everyday interactions. What's important to understand is that these reactions aren't random, they're patterned. The nervous system learns where expression is allowed and where it isn't. Over time, that learning shapes where reactions emerge. Earlier episodes explored how steadier confidence changes decision making and reduces pressure. When confidence is still developing, pressure is managed by containment. When containment reaches its limit, something gives. That release often looks like a reaction in a relationship. Another reason reactions spill into relationships is that relationships involve attachment. Not just romantic attachment, but attachment more broadly. The people we care about matter. Their responses matter. Their availability matters. This increases emotional sensitivity. You might notice that the same comment from two different people lands very differently. From one person, passes unnoticed. Yeah, water for ducks back. From another, it sticks with you. That difference is relational, not logical. When reactions happen, people often turn inward and judge themselves. Why did I react like that? Why couldn't I stay calm? Why am I like this with them? That judgment adds another layer of pressure. A more useful question is whether the reaction belongs only to that moment or whether it's carrying something else with it. Fatigue, unspoken resentment, old expectations, ongoing uncertainty. This isn't about analysis of every reaction. It's about recognizing patterns over time, noticing where reactions show up most often, with whom, in what context. As awareness grows, reactions become easier to anticipate. You might notice that you're more sensitive after certain days with certain people or in particular roles. That awareness creates space. Instead of reacting automatically, people begin to pause, not perfectly, but enough to choose a different response. or to recognize what's needed isn't an answer, but rest, space, or clarification. Over time, reactions start to feel less alarming. They become signals rather than failures, signals that something is being carried that hasn't been acknowledged yet. This doesn't mean reactions disappear, it means they make more sense. And when something makes sense, it becomes easier to respond rather than react. As we move into the next episode, we'll build directly on this by exploring how these relational patterns form earlier in life and why certain dynamics repeat across siblings, parents, friends, and work relationships, even when situations change.